So the purpose of this demo is to showcase our ability to resolve visitors on a website to people in a brand's first-party data asset, all using our customer recognition tag. So in other words, we can help associate live site visitors to real people who may or may not already be customers of the e-commerce site. So the way that it works is FullContact provides a JavaScript tag, which is just a piece of code that's embedded onto this home furnishing site. When a visitor anonymously comes to the site, meaning they haven't provided any credentials about themselves, this tag or the piece of JavaScript will be invoked and attempt to find a connection in our public identity graph. If we're able to successfully identify a visitor, we'll provide back what we call the person ID, which is really just FullContact's internal identifier representing a person that is unique. This identifier can then be used to do all sorts of interesting things that will be showcased in this demo. So let me give you a quick tour of how this demo works. So again, this is an e-commerce site with different things that someone may want to buy to furnish their home. Visitors may or may not have accounts, and so they may be browsing this website in a logged in state, or they may be on here in a pure anonymous fashion. So on the lower part of the screen, you'll notice that there's this event console. So the event console will pop up with each little web event, similar to what you might find with Google Analytics as people click around. And so it'll show the different navigation points that they go to, and things that they click on, things that add to their cart, etc. Now, before we get too far though, we must pretend like we're the brand, and we need to leverage our customer mapping capabilities so that we can assist in the anonymous recognition. So these are mocked out customer records that are from the home store's customer database. This could also be a CDP or a CRM. As you can see, there's a number of different types of attributes that can be associated with any given customer record. Some of them have emails, some of them have phones, some of them have name and address pairings, and in all cases, they have customer records. Customer record IDs, rather. So, for each of these customer records, we'll map it into the private identity cloud to get back the person ID. And as you can see, these have already been pre-mapped, and these are the unique person IDs for each person. For some of the customers in the database, the home store also has a segment about what they may be interested in viewing. And this could be provided based on previous shopping habits, previous engagements, etc. And this can be actualized real time on the site when the person visits. So in this case, we've just got one segment, which we'll call, which is called betting interest being true. So now that we've got all the different customers mapped into the private identity cloud, which again is helping assist with the anonymous recognition and general customer recognition, we're going to go ahead and pretend like we're Jessie Lee following her on a typical experience on the site. Note that she has this betting interest being true. So now I'm going to go back to the main page and show how the customer recognition tag can be used in conjunction with the private identity cloud to help enable site personalization and create a tailored view for an otherwise anonymous visitor. All right, so now that we're here, up to this point, we've had our customer recognition capabilities disabled. And so if I go back to the main site, you'll notice this is a picture of a couch with a general landing page to say Shop Home Store. As soon as I click on this button to enable site recognition, you'll notice something changes. The image in the background is now changed to a bedroom image, and the text is now Shop Bedding and Bath. And the reason that this happened is because in this demo, we simulated mapping to Jessie Lee. And so if we were to flip back to the other site for customer mapping, we'll notice that Jessie Lee's person ID is in fact this X7J number or ID. And so through that, we're able to then recognize this is Jessie. We can see we've got some information stating that she's interested in bedding, and custom tailor the experience that she will have on the site. All right, so that's kind of the main overview of the home store example. I'm going to go through another piece that's a little bit more dynamic with a little bit more real data. So in this next example, I'm going to walk through the simulation of mapping real customer information about myself and Chris Harrison into the private identity cloud. In these mappings, we'll pretend that we've got two different databases, one being a newsletter database and one being similar to the home store database, a customer database. And so here is me with my name, my address, and my email, and I've got client ID 111. Now over on the left side pane, I've got a few things that we'll watch so that we can see what it looks like as these things get mapped into the private identity cloud. So the top one is for me, the bottom one is for Chris, and this is our person ID that will come up, and this will be Chris's person ID. So when I map this, I'll go ahead and get a person ID, and you'll see that now client ID 111 shows up for me. Go to the newsletter, and again, pretending that I signed up with a newsletter now with a different email. And so that's a key call out because that FullContact one was not in here. And when I map it, I will also get the same record ID, which will show up over here. So now this is tying together the newsletter ID and the client ID. Then we'll do Chris, who's got similar information, a B to a C email, name and address. We'll load him. And then we'll do one for the newsletter as well. And you'll see this pane light up. All right, so at this point, we've simulated the same thing that we just went through at the home store. We've got two people loaded up into the private identity cloud that are represented in two different databases. And again, the brand has no way to know that these two people are the same. So if we come in here into the recognition page, you'll see that when I click this resolve button, we'll do a full resolve based on the anonymous site recognition. So all the data we had previously entered is not flowing through into this for this call to populate what I'm about to show. And so the record IDs were recognized, and then we've got a section that further details the ways that customers can custom tailor that and personalize that experience for somebody on their site. So in this case, it's recognized me at an anonymous level around, I'm a male, it's got my age range, it's got my location being in Colorado, and then it's got a whole slew of different interests that may be applicable to my live experience on the site. As we've talked about with Glue and other partners, going into Loademy with onboarding, I've captured the number of hashed emails I have and the number of mobile ad IDs as well. And those are helpful for those onboarding experiences. That's the demo. Thank you.